Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of First Look Final Word, the podcast where we take you along to see a movie with us. I'm Pete.
And I'm Trevor. Now you should say it's a bonus episode.
It is a bonus episode.
This week.
Yeah, we're just sliding this one in here, so it's not our usual release schedule. It's a special edition, you could say.
Yeah, and it's all for May the 4th, and we have two special guests with us who are being very quiet right now and respectful. But Ben and Delaney have returned.
Yeah, waiting for our turn to say something. So thanks for having us.
We're back. Happy to be back.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Listeners might remember you guys from the last special Star Wars episode we did.
On Phantom Menace, and we were just skipping Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, you guys might be the first podcast to be doing every other Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
we'll make it a thing.
We're waiting for milestone
We'll be back for
anniversaries.
Yeah.
Well, some people were doing an Empire thing this year because it's...
There was another
Yeah, it's going to be 45 for Empire.
You'll have to wait 5 years to do Empire now then.
But is anyone carrying the torch for Attack of the Clones? I feel like we got to revisit this one. That's probably the least watched, I would have to think.
Yeah, I would think so.
I feel like it's the most memed. If I go by the
Star Wars memes?
prequel memes on Reddit.
Memes,
They love that stuff.
Well, yeah. So if you haven't got the hint already, we did an episode on Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, that I think you'll need to check out to even understand this episode.
Yeah, right. If you want it to make sense.
But did we want to do a quick recap of everyone's history with Star Wars, or
we can do that. Why
we
not?
do a speed run?
A speed run? Yeah. Star Wars
I
is
think
great.
I think Star Wars is really good.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Yeah, we're big fans of Star Wars, obviously. Where we are is in Delaney's Star Wars Sanctuary, at the top of our house.
Yeah, your listeners can't see the location, but it's very Star Wars heavy.
It is indeed. It's a pretty impressive collection you guys have here, I must say. Pretty jealous.
One you say you have, but what percentage is owned by Ben versus Delaney?
1%.
This one thing here is mine.
Yeah, I was going to say 95.5, but you're probably right. It's probably close to
That was to be
99.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The games are yours. The computer games are yours.
Yeah, that's mine right there.
Nice.
But the cupboards full of the puzzles and the board games are mine.
Mm.
And the books.
I get to enjoy it
And the
anyway.
figurines. That's true. I did kick his butt at Star Wars Trivial Pursuit the other night, though.
Yeah, we were getting ready for this episode. We did some Star Wars Trivial Pursuit on Friday night.
Nice.
Most of the questions right. So.
What year was that one made?
It was actually shortly after Revenge of the Sith was released, so it focuses on the first 6 movies, original trilogy and prequels.
Yeah, I have a Trivial Pursuit Star Wars. I got it to play with my kid because he likes Star Wars, but he's just nah, that's too intense for me. It's just give him the easy questions.
Does it still break it down by categories?
Yep.
Has history and geography?
Yeah, of course it does.
Well,
Basically,
Trivial Pursuit, man. How else are you going to play
the
it?
Saga and
The Saga, the Cantina, Hyperspace, Heroes, Scoundrels, Villains, the Force, and...
yeah, there's one about planets and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. So yeah, basically. And then it was a DVD one too, so it had an interactive element.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Was it sort of
fun.
Seen It? Got some Seen It elements to it?
Yeah, the wedge questions were DVD clips and stuff.
There you go. Well, the
That's
next
pretty cool.
episode when we do, I guess it'd have to be Empire because we'll have to skip A New Hope.
Yeah.
We'll break out the Trivial Pursuit questions and see what we can get going.
Works for me.
There you go. Yeah, start brush it up.
And so what's everyone's history with this movie? I'll save mine for last.
You saving yours for
Ben, do
last?
you want to? Because you were not the biggest fans of the prequels overall, but kind of grew to love them. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say I think our generation kind of had expectations of the prequels that people younger than us didn't have necessarily. They kind of take them at face value. I find people younger than me, there's a lot of fans of the prequels that they just like them because they are what they are. And
It's what you grow up with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
so coming from original trilogy and then seeing the prequels, like some of the filmmaking decisions weren't the best, but yeah, come to appreciate that the story has some good elements to it. So I still enjoy to go back to them.
And what about Revenge of the Sith? Like, do you rank it as the best prequel?
It's tricky because it is in some ways the best, in some ways the worst. I think it is.
That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I mean that's how everyone feels. I think.
Yeah. Are we doing spoilers yet or no?
What are we doing with spoilers? That's a great question.
Let's wait till the next segment to get into spoilers.
I'll just leave it at that then.
So, how about you, Delaney?
Well, I came into Star Wars kind of in between the release of Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So Attack of the Clones was the first one I saw in theaters. I loved it. Still love it. I'm going to say that.
Was that your first?
Well, I saw
okay,
4, 5, 6,
okay.
1. But the first one in theaters I saw was Attack of the Clones. So then when Revenge of the Sith came out, I was super excited. And at the time, myself and I think a number of other fans assumed that would be the last Star Wars movie. So I kind of savored it as like my last experience to see a Star Wars movie in theaters. And I mean, I dressed up. I grew up in a small town where people don't do that.
Only one person there.
But I dressed up.
Nice.
Me and a couple of friends put on our Star Wars gear and went to the movies to see it. And I loved it. I really loved it. I remember I was in grade 8 when it was released on DVD. And I remember distinctly sitting in my grade 8 classroom and just counting down the hours till the school day was done. I literally had like a countdown on my Timex watch or whatever. Just counting down because my mom had told me we could go to Walmart and buy the movie as soon as school was over.
Nice.
And I couldn't find it on VHS. And I was a little disappointed because I couldn't complete my VHS collection. But I bought it on DVD, and there was widescreen.
They stopped VHS between those two movies.
right.
I think it was. I think it might have been released on VHS, just not in my small town Walmart. So I got the DVD, and back then you could choose widescreen or full screen.
Oh, yes,
so I chose full screen as a 13 or 14-year-old. And then later that day, my dad came home from work and he had bought me the widescreen version just because, I don't know, he probably didn't realize that my mom had already taken me to get it. So anyway, I have 2 copies on DVD.
Nice.
But I've got...
And you left one sealed.
Of course, yeah.
It's like, we just take this one back. Like, no, you can't.
no, I'm going to hang on
That's
to that.
fine, that's fine.
It's
No,
okay.
it's Star Wars, can't throw it out.
So far away.
I've got,
take
what,
it
probably 3 or 4 copies of the original trilogy on VHS.
Nice.
I just keep buying them. Every time I go to a thrift store and I see
Yeah,
a
you
original
see them a
trilogy
lot.
on VHS, I just can't leave it
Yeah,
there.
I've got like, I think it was a special, the one where it was like had the gold sort of round the sides. Like you see that.
Yeah,
everywhere.
that was when it was. That was the special edition
the
that was
special
re-released.
edition
Was
ones,
that
yeah.
97 or 99?
7.
That was 7. Yeah, 97 with the gold case. Yeah.
And the thing
I've got
is,
that
Still got
one
that
too.
somewhere.
every re-release, George is tweaking things, so they're all different.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
George.
Yeah, it's really hard to find. Like, I don't think you can find the like theatrical release of a lot of the early ones.
People like have made cuts of them themselves, like
Gold
with
Laserdiscs
with
and-
special, like trying to upscale it as much as they can.
Yeah, the despecialized editions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those. They're pretty good.
But I think I mentioned on the last episode on Star Wars that like I just had like bootlegged copies that like my uncle taped for us, but they were like not theatrical, but like the earliest, like cause I like
Watch
the
out,
earliest
Disney's
VHSs.
gonna come after you, Trevor. You don't throw your uncle
Well,
under
I
the
said it
bus.
was I was a child. Like you can't prosecute me.
I was a minor at the time.
Sorry, Pete. What's your history with this movie?
Well, I remember being so excited when the prequels came out, like everybody was, and I didn't really like them that much at all. Like on first viewing, but it's funny, like we say, like it's got the best things in, but also the worst things. So I remember there was like certain things where it's like, oh, that was really awesome. It was like, yeah, those like 15 minutes I really liked, but the rest of it I just like, there's just certain things that really it just irked me. So same thing with this one. I think there was bits in it where I was like, oh yeah, it's really cool to see that happen. But at the same time, I was like, I wish they hadn't done it exactly like that, or if I changed it a little bit, or not looked so much. But I had this weird path with this where like I didn't like it at all, and I was like, I'm done. I don't need to watch that ever again. And then I got really into the Clone Wars animated show, which was like set around the same era, and I loved that so much. And some of my favorite Star Wars stuff. And I was like, maybe I'm just like totally wrong about this movie. I was like, because all this stuff in the Clone Wars is so cool. I'm like, I'm gonna go back and watch it. And I watched it. I was like, oh man, these are not the same characters even. I was like, so it made me want to go back because like, I love this story. I just don't like the way they executed it. So I mean, I have some love for it though. Still, like there are some really cool bits in it, but I just like some of it. I'm just like, I don't like how they did that.
Yeah, that's very close to how I feel. Like I think this movie has like one of the best like thesis statements of all the Star Wars movies. Like it has clear goals of what it's trying to do.
True.
But I think you hit the nail on the head, and just like it's kind of a problem with execution, like a problem with script and dialogue in a few places, because like if you explain like where the end point they ended up, like I would say that's very good.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everything is earned in the movie. Yeah. And that's why I'm kind of most down on it for all the prequels, because it does a bad job of bridging the gap between episode 3 and episode 4, which like by the time that this movie had come out, that's all I was looking for at that point.
Just tie it up well.
I didn't really like the first 2, and then I'm like, well, if this can at least bridge the gap, then this can be a worthwhile project. And like I'm not sure if it entirely did bridge the gap, but you recommended I read
I was going to bring
novelization.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is it's widely regarded as the best version of
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith, the novelization. And
I could see that though, for sure. Like the story's there.
Yeah, and the book, it lets you get into the mentality of characters more than a movie ever could, and that really helps sell the story.
Yeah, well, because I think, like in particular, this movie doesn't serve Padme very well, because she's really like relegated to like the sad wife character when she was kind of a badass in the first 2 movies, and then Anakin is just like way too easily seduced. Like it's one conversation basically, and then that's
well, I mean, they were
trying to sow the seeds.
They tried to sow the seeds, but like I don't think I agree. I don't think they did a good enough job of that. So when it does eventually happen, you're like, oh, that seems like it was fast. But it's like, oh, it's been 3 movies worth of doing it.
I would recommend the novel, because it does do a really good job in those 2 particular aspects, and like actually like really good action writing. It's a very good book, I would say. So
I was nervous about like the novelization of a movie just kind of being like a beat by beat retelling of the movie, but it takes enough artistic liberties to make it its own thing.
So a lot of depth to it.
Giving the characters like inner monologues really helps, and like but you can't do that in a Star Wars movie, right? Because it would just be like different than every other Star Wars movie.
It's like a voiceover suddenly.
It's like just like a noir.
I'm really feeling about going evil right now.
But okay, so I've sent each of you a link.
Trevor's got games this week, guys.
So it's not a game.
It's not a game. All right, Trevor's not got games.
We are going to be doing a bit of a recap of this movie in the form of a play.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Here we go.
So there's a.
You did not warn us about this. By
so
the way.
I tried to do a little play recap of this movie that we're about to watch. In 5 scenes, they're all pretty quick. You can see it's like 2.5 pages.
This is all getting cut.
So the cast of characters, and I'll also read the direction, because I have the least lines.
All right.
So Anakin will be played by Ben, Padme by Delaney, Palpatine by myself, and Obi-Wan by Pete.
Only one of us has theater experience, by the way.
I'm just trying to look through some of this.
No, I think it works better if you don't look through it. Okay.
All right. So what are we going for? We're going for like impressions here.
No, we're going for like this is Pete's chance to put his spin on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
What age am I in this play?
So this
when's this set?
This takes place like during the events of Revenge of the Sith, right?
See. Okay.
So 22.
So it says. Is that how old Anakin is? 22? Man, he's young. So can you age your voice down a bit, Ben?
Well, it's easier than doing the Jake Lloyd for me. So.
Okay, so scene 1 is in Padme and Anakin's chambers. So Anakin wakes up after a nightmare.
I had that dream again.
This is a lot of talking before I've had my morning coffee.
I'm worried about us and the baby and the future.
So far, this marriage has been like 90% comforting you after bad dreams and after you've killed a bunch of Sand People children.
I hate them.
Can I just ask, did you write this?
I wrote this. Yes, I wrote this.
Oh my word.
Who else would have wrote this?
I don't know.
Okay, scene 2.
Oh shit, okay.
Obi-Wan visits Padme at her office. Obi-Wan walks in with a surfboard.
Sorry I'm late, brah. I was chasing some tasty waves.
I'm worried about Anakin. He's being worse than usual.
Are you gonna do the stage
Okay.
reaction here?
So Obi-Wan, stoned out of his mind.
You're just gonna let my accent bring it through.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
Never mind.
That's good.
I actually have a shit ton going on with the war. I need to get to the bottom of Palpatine's real motives.
And I need to find out what's going on with this Sith Lord thing. Right now, this dude is acting like a real kook, messing around with an impact zone. I'm gonna break this like an A-frame. I don't know any of these references.
Yeah. So I was using a
Surfing
using a
lingo.
surfing glossary as I was writing this.
Got
But
it.
Honestly, great job, Pete. Like
There you go.
half the reason I did
Yeah.
this is because I wanted you to do like a
Do my-
California surf.
I thought I nailed it. To be fair,
Okay.
what's an impact zone?
Maybe where the
It's when the
wave
wave
crashes
crashes
down.
down and
okay.
hits
Nah.
the surfer
I'm
under
not
the
a
tunnel.
surfer. Sorry, guys.
We just watched
You're
Point
real
Break,
kook.
so we're
Oh,
basically
man.
experts
Kook.
now.
We should do an episode of Point Break.
Yes, let's
I
do
love
that.
that movie.
I'll learn what a kook is.
All right, scene 3. Anakin meets Palpatine at the opera. You know, there are certain ways to cheat death that even the Jedi don't know.
It's a little rude to be talking in the middle of the performance.
I'm trying to help you save Padme and the baby.
How do you know that? Goodness, are you a Sith Lord?
Palpatine holds his hands up mockingly. Guilty!
I'll never join the dark side, even if it means saving Padme.
I'll let you execute all the younglings.
You, sir, have just made a sale.
Scene 4. Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan on Mustafar.
This is crazy, Anakin. Why would you think I would want this?
I did it for love. I'm a romantic.
You killed all the younglings, brah. That's aggro AF.
More child murders? Are you kidding me? I thought that was a one-time thing.
I have a problem. I'm seeing someone about it.
Is it Palpatine?
Anakin holds his hands up apologetically.
Guilty?
Sorry, bro. I gotta wipe you out. It's a wicked bummer because you were the chosen one.
Obi-Wan slices Anakin up a lot and burns him with some lava.
Nice direction.
I'll see you again in 10 years, and we can do this exact thing again.
Scene 5. Palpatine visits Anakin in the Darth Vader factory. Padme died.
No!
Finn.
I thought we weren't doing spoilers.
We just spoiled the whole movie.
Wow.
I
instead.
meant to when that segment started to say we were going into spoilers, so maybe we could throw a warning out there.
Okay, it's been 20 years,
Yeah, if
though.
people are
If you haven't
listening to
seen it
this
by
and
now,
haven't watched it,
you know.
then sorry,
I mean,
guys.
you gotta catch the deleted scene where Obi-Wan gets into surfer culture to really
Yeah,
understand that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, like, what's going on in your head. Like, how do you make that connection?
What's specifically going on with my head here is I never understood like why Padme married Anakin. Like I still can't get over it. Like after he confesses what he did
Yeah, he's got
to all the Sand People, like it just does.
he's got some,
never quite
he's got
squares
some
with
sweet
me.
riz though.
I guess
Talking
so.
about how you think she's an angel.
I think she's just in love with him, right? Wants to fix him.
I guess so.
I think there's some trauma bonding that happens too, probably in the execution arena.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a bad
Well,
shout,
that's true.
actually.
So she jumps up on the back of that
Next
razor
to
beast or whatever and gives him a smooch, and that's kind of it, right?
Smooch.
the smooch was on the chariot as they're being led out.
Okay, that's right.
Get it right, Trevor.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah. This is why we shouldn't have skipped Attack of the Clones.
I find it difficult to remember that movie, if I'm being honest. Attack of the Clones. I just remember the Yoda and Dooku fight at the end.
Yeah.
Because it's the coolest thing. I thought it was at the time, at least.
I didn't think
you
it was-
liked it? You liked
I liked
Yoda?
it. I liked Yoda flipping about like a little ninja.
I liked it.
I thought it was cool, man. I can understand why people were like, "That's not Yoda."
Yeah.
I liked when they were like, the clones were like just blasting up all the droid stuff. I thought that was pretty cool, but I didn't like the Yoda fight.
No.
Well, because I thought like the whole point of his character. Well, we should save this for our Attack of the Clones episode. But the whole point of that character is that he's crippled, right? And he doesn't.
I guess.
And he uses his wisdom
Yeah.
as his strength. And
Yeah, but the whole point of Jedi's is that they're super sick at
Okay,
fighting with swords.
Judge him by his size, do you?
Right.
Okay, let's think about this. I think the point of Yoda is that he can do all these things, but he doesn't have to do it very
He
often.
doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to, exactly.
I say he doesn't need that cane.
He doesn't need it. Oh.
I think
He's a giant faker.
I think it points to Star Wars being so many different things to so many different people, and it's just impossible to please them all. And I think that's part of why, the opinions on the prequels are all over the place.
Very true. I am a big puppet Yoda over CGI Yoda any day of the week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, they tried to do the lightsaber battle with the puppets. It just didn't quite
I would have
work.
just loved to see that, to be fair. Just have him
How mu-
flipping around.
How much of the puppets did they use in the prequels?
They used it mostly in Phantom Menace.
I think it was
Yeah, I
just
think so.
Just Phantom Menace.
And
Yeah,
like-
I think it was all CG.
Just in like the
By 2 and
Jedi
3.
chamber, the Jedi like council
Yeah.
area.
Right?
That's the only
Yeah.
puppets. All right. Well, anything else before we dive into this movie?
No, I'm excited to watch this one again.
I think it's just my third time.
Might be the same for me. I saw it when it came out, and then I saw it after I watched Clone Wars, and then I might not have watched, especially not the whole way through. I've seen
Yeah.
like certain scenes I've seen multiple times, but
Yeah, so it's probably like of like the first 6, it's the least I've seen. And I haven't sany it since I've read the novelization, so interested to see it with that lens.
Yeah, see how it changes your
you're
opinion.
like, I know what he's thinking right here.
How many times do you think you've seen it, Delaney?
It's been a few years. I haven't seen it in a few years. But yeah, I've watched it a lot.
Like triple digits?
I wouldn't say triple digits. No.
I'd probably say I've watched it 10 times.
Okay.
I'm definitely in the
Respectable.
double digits at least, for sure. It was the first movie that I ever paid to see twice in theaters.
Ah, there you go. Nice. All right then.
All right. Well,
Let's get to it then.
So if you're new to the podcast, we are going to go watch Revenge of the Sith in this very cool attic Star Wars setup you guys got going on here. And then we'll be right back and give you our immediate reactions.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. We just finished watching Revenge of the Sith, full screen.
Yeah, did we mention? Yeah, I don't think we talked about format before, but yeah, like Delaney, did you want to talk about which format we decided to watch the movie in?
Yeah, so I have 2 copies of the DVD, and my widescreen edition is still sealed, so we watched my full screen edition.
And it was fun.
It's
Like
like
it
old school DVDs.
took you back to
Yeah.
2005,
2005.
2006.
Seen
Yeah,
the
very old
DVD
school.
menu and all that stuff.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
Get to see Palpatine watching the movie.
I miss that stuff with physical media. It's like give me a fun menu
Yeah,
sequence.
it's a nice throwback.
So have anyone changed their minds about this movie?
Well, so I think this is the first time I've seen this movie since I've been a parent, and like I definitely felt like
Choking up with the younglings?
no, not even the younglings, like the anxiety over like Anakin like worrying
Oh,
about Padme
like dying
and
in
stuff like that.
childbirth.
Like I kind of get that a bit more.
Yeah, as a partner of someone who's gone through
Yeah, right.
pregnancy, that it hits different for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time that we've watched this since becoming parents as well. Now that was only 8 months ago. But yeah, it definitely hits different as a parent and having gone through pregnancy too.
Now I don't think that I would have committed the atrocities that Anakin did.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't hit me as hard. I also have had children, but I still just don't buy them. Don't buy them as a
Yeah.
couple at all.
Well, no, I
It's
don't
more
buy
just
them.
like I get the anxiety.
Yeah, I see what you guys are saying. I do agree, but yeah, I wasn't feeling that bad about it.
Like still in this one, like I feel bad for Padme as a character because
Yeah.
like she's really underserved in this
Definitely,
one. Like she's just kind of waiting in
Yeah.
their apartment,
Very
like
sidelined.
saying, "What's going on? What's going on with Anakin?" Like,
I'm sad.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a good point because, like you said, compared to the other two movies, she's pretty like.
we could argue she's the main character of
Yeah.
the trilogy up to this movie.
She definitely drove the plot a lot
Yeah.
more in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, it's kind of strange as well because like the whole crux of his turn is all about her, right? But it's almost like they made a decision. Oh, she's pregnant now, so she's just gonna stay at home and do nothing, and just be in peril.
Well, I think they had a lot of things to cram in
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
we know how the movie's going to end, and so they have to connect all the dots.
Too many dots.
It's a lot of dots
Yes,
to
there is a
connect,
lot of dots.
and she unfortunately just didn't have that much in the way of dots that needed connecting.
that's
I guess
true.
Well, she just had to die, basically.
Yeah.
That's
They have
something
what
she
she
had
had
to
to get
do.
pregnant and then
that's all
die.
she had to do was have babies and die.
And that kind of like spins into another point. Like it's so much in such a small amount of time. If they gave some of these plots a bit more room to breathe, they would have landed better. If they expanded it out, like, you know, the manipulation and the fall to darkness that Anakin goes through. Like it goes through it so quickly. It's a hard sell when it's
Well,
Yeah.
and that's why the book is such a fantastic companion to the movies because it really allows you to kind of get more in depth with the characters and kind of what they're going through internally.
What I really appreciate about the books too is it showed kind of more of what Palpatine's endgame was, and it wasn't like so wholly dependent on Anakin because like Anakin was like his main goal, but he had contingency plans.
Right.
Like he told you know Dooku, like, you're my main guy too. Dooku thinks he's there to win that fight, and then Palpatine is actually fine with either outcome. Like if Anakin's really going to be the apprentice I think he's going to be, he needs to win this fight, and if he doesn't, then he didn't deserve to be my apprentice anyways. Like it was not so like for me that made a lot more sense than just like he's constructing this elaborate space battle for these two to meet, and then for him to almost die 15 times while trying to be rescued.
It's interesting you say that because like I kind of always assumed that he was just like a super genius with a master plan, but like watching it this time, I kind of felt a little bit more like, is he just kind of fucking winging it and just like getting away with a lot of this shit? Because sometimes I'm like, that didn't. I feel like he didn't have planned for that. Did that actually happen?
I think he is sort of winging it, but the book does a better job of him being like, you know, I'm taking this calculated risk, and then if this happens, then I'll do this. If this happens, then I'll do this.
So I've got a big question about that because when he's fighting Mace Windu,
Yeah.
is he like faking? I know he's faking losing at the end.
I don't think
because
so.
he's like doing the whole like side eye. Oh, I'm really almost dead here, Anakin. You better help me. And he's
that
like,
was-
fucking kill this
The whole
guy.
thing was very calculated. I
Yeah,
think.
but so was he when he turns into like Scrotum Palpatine? Is that like?
God, that's not a part of his plan.
Because in my mind it's like, is he always look like that and he's just revealed himself, or does he turn into that way because he's fighting?
I think he allowed the lightning to have that effect on himself, and I think he could have stopped it, but I think he used that to kind of garner some sympathy. Because then
that's
when he goes
interesting.
back into the Senate, he's like,
He's able to sell
look, this attack on my life has left me disfigured. Like, look at my
But
scars. Look what the Jedi have done to me.
He looks creepy though.
Yeah,
He came out, I was like,
I think
look,
that-
look how Scott. I'm like, you look like an evil, like weird, creepy,
Yeah.
evil demon.
I think the makeup is not good.
Well, yeah, that I mean, yeah. Aside from that,
the makeup's not good. The acting direction
Well,
was a choice.
So I guess like
his facial expressions are amazing.
Yeah.
so Ian McDiarmid, is that how you say his name?
McDiarmid, yeah.
Sure.
So like, and this is early days of like just being in front of a green screen. No one else is there. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of a leeway, but he was really bad in this movie, and like his facial expressions are not good. Like, well,
that's not very subtle.
but you got to blame George for that. Like, you got to say like Ian, we need to do this again. Like,
Yeah.
you need to
like,
tone
you-
that.
you
You need to
look-
tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So you already look pretty evil. You don't need to be like mugging so hard.
like I'd say like the scene where he's speaking with Anakin he's doing a really good job acting wise because he's like playing off a real person, but then when he's just like jumping forward with the lightsaber going like, I'm gonna stab you. I don't think it's working for me.
I feel like if you just take the plot of this movie, it is very dark, right? And to keep the tone of kind of the high adventure that Star Wars goes for, they probably wanted to contrast it a bit with a bit more silliness,
like a cartoony villain.
Yes, they were probably intentionally doing that, but I think they did it wrong.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to make him like super scary.
That's interesting. Like I never got the impression before that they were trying to make they were trying to make Palpatine less scary because he's such a like in the two appearances he has in the original trilogy, right? Like he's very like mysterious and like spooky.
But I think there's a pivot between original trilogy and prequel trilogy, how they're kind of portraying the movies, like how they angle it towards kids and stuff. I feel like, right? And like,
true.
So this makes the medicine go down a little bit.
Yeah, a bit. Like, I mean, just considering just how dark this is a movie about mass murder. and
child murder.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes,
Like it glosses over
dark.
that a little bit, but it's dark. It's
it
super
still
dark.
shows it to like pretty big. Like it shows like dead children.
Yeah, that's true. It is. Master Skywalker.
But yeah, I guess you're probably right. I just never really thought about it that way. That like they had to make it like they had to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, it's just.
No, I think that's a good point. If you make it just a little bit ridiculous, it lands easier.
Maybe.
And you don't leave feeling completely depressed.
Could have done it better.
I think
A lot better.
Ben wants to be depressed. He wants to leave depressed.
I'm a fan of
Yeah, screw the kids.
Well-
It was some dark shit.
the feeling we get at like Empire Strikes Back, I feel like is what they were going for with the tone at the end of this movie, right? But
Potentially.
where like things are dark, we're gonna have to just struggle through and find a way out of this darkness at the end. But there's always a glimmer of hope. But I just don't think the movie like succeeds in that same way that Empire succeeds.
No. This is not as good as Empire?
Yeah,
You're really putting yourself on a
controversial
limb there,
views.
Trevor. Wow. We're going to get complaints.
That's just what it's just one guy's opinion, okay? Don't come at me,
All right,
internet.
well, you're entitled to your opinion.
I didn't remember that like they were standing out a window and then I think I was probably just distracted by Tarkin in the past, but like they're I actually don't think I realized that they're building the Death Star
really?
there, which is like
They made that very, very like, look at this, you remember this, guys?
but like it doesn't make any sense. Like it took them 18 years to finish that thing.
Well, that's just one of the things I really didn't like about the prequels. That it made the original trilogy not make sense in lots of different ways. Like the amount of like, let's do some tie-in like books and like try and explain why he said this. And it doesn't make any sense now that we've done these prequels. Why don't they know who he is? Why has he not said anything about that?
Because I think it works better if they're not building the Death Star right away. They mentioned that like we still need the Senate because you still need these senators to keep control of the other areas, right? Mm-hmm. I think it makes more sense that Palpatine tried to make that work for a little while, but then he was not satisfied still having to go through this institution to build a Death Star.
But because my reading of that there was like a time jump at the end there. Because like they already had the Star Destroyers and everyone, they all had their nice uniforms. Like it could have been the next day.
Could have been years later.
Yeah. So I kind of figured, they've jumped forward in time a bit here.
Don't they show plans in Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, there's the plans. The Geonos.
Yeah, so like they've already got the plans there, like the blueprints. They've got it sketched out.
Still, to your point, like, does it take 18 years to build the first one, and then how many years for the second?
3 years for the second.
I guess so. Yeah.
It just seems a little strange that like I think having the plans in Attack of the Clones makes sense that that's something that's on his mind, but they're already like breaking ground on that.
Yeah,
well, that's okay. They made a whole of a movie to explain that, haven't they?
No, I mean,
go watch Rogue One.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, why did it take 18
Galen,
well,
whatever his name was like making him go super slow.
Yeah. One we know that it's such a logistical and economic nightmare to just build these Death Stars, and like he's been doing this in the background while raging a war on two sides. Like it just doesn't quite add up.
Yeah, I hadn't considered it was a time jump, but that
But I think
We could-
after that it shows them
It's-
dropping off Luke and Leia after that
Well,
part,
yeah, don't worry
right?
about
So,
that.
but
Don't worry about
they're different plots.
yeah,
Like,
there's not a lot of time
Did,
slipping.
did,
in
really,
these
did they
movies,
show
though,
the
so-
baby? Maybe he was like 4 years old already when he dropped him off. It took him a while to get around to it.
Oh, yeah, the next scene is Luke like blasting animals.
yeah, shooting womp rats.
Yeah, that's what I was
Cause I-
saying.
16 Skyhopper.
Yeah, because I thought a bit of that as well. Like, he seemed to have that Darth Vader like suit, like ready to go real quick. Like, was he expecting him to like need it, or did he just think it would be
He's
cool
like,
armor
oh, yeah,
for him to
this
have?
will look cool on somebody.
Yeah, it's like this is gonna look. This is a sweet mask. Did he just like retrofit it with
All
extra
black
arms and
for
legs?
you.
Well, I think a lot of it was functional, like to kind of compensate for the horrific injuries he sustained in the lava on Mustafar. So I think a lot of the suit was like life sustaining. Like you've got like the forced air because his lungs were ruined, and obviously you've got the prosthetics for the legs and the
I
arms.
feel like that's like custom made, though, right? That would take a while to put together. It's like, so it's
Okay,
like, oh,
but
They got 3D
this is-
printers. I
yeah,
can
yeah,
buy
this
that.
is-
I can buy
guess.
that.
I
This
guess.
is space technology, okay?
I-
Just
saying
suspend
that,
your
though,
disbelief.
Because I was like, the prosthetic space technology really came a long way in 18 years because his metal hand was just like,
Yeah.
I've got a robot hand, and then Luke's is like perfect when he gets his done, and that was in the middle of his.
Yeah,
Like,
don't say the Empire
Civil
didn't give
War.
us anything.
It was like, wow, this looks like real skin now.
Things are better.
Okay,
my
but
dad had a really
let's-
shitty robot hand.
Let's consider that perhaps there are different options available on the
He
market,
just picked the metal hand because it looks cool.
right? I mean, today
Yeah.
you could get a prosthetic foot that looks more realistic, or you could get one that's like one of those
A
like
blade.
for like
maybe
running
the
and
Jedi
stuff.
don't like do any extravagant
Well,
prosthetics.
I think she has a good point because I think Anakin would see him losing an arm as like, that was a weakness. I want something to remind me that I lost that
Right,
fight
there you
and
go.
I'm never going to lose a fight again.
Fair
So
enough, fair enough. There you go. We've explained it away. I'm
that's why
I'm satisfied.
Okay, there you go.
I'm satisfied.
Well, we can't assume that what we see is the only thing available.
Very
That's
true.
true.
Very true.
So I also want to talk about Hayden Christensen's performance, which I don't like, and I've never liked it.
No, it's not good. That's
And
why.
I think he's so obviously becoming a Sith throughout this movie that every single Jedi should be saying, "Are you okay, man? Like you seem to be feeling all the emotions that you're not supposed to be feeling."
Okay, counterpoint though.
Okay.
Think back to the very beginning of the movie. Obi-Wan and Anakin, they're on a mission, right? And Obi-Wan's like, okay, we gotta go. And Anakin's like, wait, let me go help these clones. Like, there's a lot of humanness, a lot of compassion. And like, this man is going out of his way to help clones who are kind of in a bit of a gray zone. Like,
Are they real people?
They're
or-
people, but
right.
they're like, yeah, clones are a bit of a gray zone, and he is willing to risk his own life to put his mission on hold to go help out these clones. So I think he starts off like obviously wanting to help, and it's really quite the swing to the other
Yeah,
side.
that's a good point. I think they definitely did that on purpose, right? Just like to remember, he's like actually a really good dude. He's a better dude than Obi-Wan. He wants to help people.
Well, I mean, you think back to, if we go back to last year when we watched Phantom Menace, I mean, Anakin really does have like just the purest heart. And it's not until he meets Palpatine that everything starts going. And Palpatine really just knows all of the buttons to push and all of the strings to pull.
Yeah.
And he's gotten under his skin and into his head from the very beginning.
Well, yeah, I think it's he's illustrating why the Jedi get like purge their emotions because it creates this weakness that leads to exploitation.
Well, that difference between him and Obi-Wan in that opening scene is really important, right? Because you would think that Obi-Wan is just being, callous by not caring about those clones. And like later in the movie, Anakin's having like a therapy session with Yoda, and Yoda's like, I can sense like you're afraid to lose things, and like,
Right.
and it sucks, but like you gotta shed yourself from that stuff, because that's how like you have this enormous power, and like any kind of straying from like the barriers that we've set for this can lead down a dark path.
Right.
Well, and Obi-Wan's able to kind of take a step back and look at big picture. You
Yeah.
know, like he's able to remove himself from the situation a little bit. He's like, okay, this is the clones are doing their job. We're doing our job. This is our mission. We need to rescue the Chancellor now. Whereas Anakin, I think he has a lot of emotion, and
It's so personal.
yes,
Yeah.
all of his emotions are just so heightened all the time. Like he feels things very strongly, very deeply, and I think he gets caught up in the situation that's immediately in front of him. And in this case, it's this person, this clone needs help.
It's funny that you said like that therapy session with Yoda, because I feel like he just needs therapy. He's like he's had
Yeah.
a
I
rough,
think so.
He's
Like,
had a rough
yeah.
go.
He just
He's had a
needed
rough
someone to
life.
talk
He's had a
to.
rough life. He's a
That's not
slave.
rough
His
life.
mom
You
died.
need
Like
therapy.
he
Je-
need someone to talk to.
And the
Absolutely.
Jedi are just wholly unequipped to handle
Yeah.
anything like this.
Which you think they would be equipped, because they literally are an
But-
organization that kidnaps
but
kids
there's-
from their
Yeah.
families.
But
Like, they
there's so-
should be able to deal with a bit of mental anguish.
They're so dogmatic. They're like, you can't succeed unless you show no emotion whatsoever. So what is a guy like Anakin gonna like? Is he gonna go to these people with these problems because he wants to succeed? He wants to do good. He wants to become a master. And if he says, I'm having, these problems, and like by the way, I'm secretly married to Padme, right? Like, his career would be over.
Well, and I don't know that it's so much like the Jedi trying to tamp out all emotions, but I think their teaching is more about control, like controlling your emotions, and like think about like it's like mindfulness, and like that's what Jedi are taught from their earliest days. Is they're taught meditation. They're big into meditation. They're big into mindfulness, and they're big into controlling their emotions. So it's not about not feeling the feels. It's about not reacting impulsively to the feels. And he missed out on that kind of crucial early years of training.
How to make a Vulcan.
That's what they
It
teach you when you're
is.
5.
It is very similar
Yeah.
to the Vulcan method.
Well,
Yeah.
What I always found confusing about the Jedi religion is that they keep saying that they're trying to find the balance between the light and the dark. But then the Sith are like, no, we're just going to do the dark. And then all through these Star Wars movies, we see like, well, if one group's trying to get a balance and one group's just trying to go wholly dark, of course it's going to skew this way, because there's no like shouldn't the Jedi just be saying we want wholly on the
but
light
also
side?
their version of balance is just getting rid of the dark, which
kinda
is
is,
not
yeah.
balance. That's just
Yeah.
like taking over.
I just
Yeah, I don't think they explicitly ever say balance between light and
Yeah.
dark. It's just, I don't know what the interpretation is of balance of the force that
means
they're...
just destroy one side of it.
Yeah.
this movie kind of gets the closest to examining like, are the Jedi like an actually like good order? Like should we be following these people? Like are these people like an ultimate good for the universe?
I think that's like what we were talking
Yeah,
about earlier, though. I think that's why this movie annoys me so much, is because it has such great themes and things that stuff that we're talking about.
It
Like, I
really
wish
does,
the movie had
yeah.
shown a lot of this stuff
It
more
just
clearly.
skirts right past all these really good themes and just doesn't quite drill into them the way you'd hope.
Yeah. Well, because like the Jedi failed in almost every regard, right? Like the Sith were operating right under their noses. And they're like, we can sense like a lot of darkness here, but when Anakin went to Samuel Jackson,
Mace
Mace Windu, thank you. It's very late. He says like, Palpatine's the Sith Lord, and like Mace Windu's surprised. Like he's like, I thought maybe he was being influenced by the Sith. But it never even occurred to them that
He can't do a spin move. I don't believe it.
They were
Have you seen him corkscrew?
and like right from the beginning of the movie, like they're already suspicious of Palpatine. So like they already know something's up, but like
Yeah.
it was never in their wildest dreams that
It was him,
it would just be him.
Well, I mean, they've got a lot going on. Like there is
do.
a
True,
galaxy-wide war, which has been orchestrated by
Yeah.
Palpatine. I think partially to kind of mask his rise.
And I think he's probably not the first like power-hungry politician that they've had to
True,
deal
right,
with. Like
yeah.
that's probably a common enough thing over the years.
Always
like,
dealing with that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
like I don't trust this guy. It's a
upstart,
power grab.
it's upstart.
It's a power grab like all the other ones. But
Yeah.
But I think the war like just took up so much of their attention and their resources, and like sure they feel this dark presence nearby, but where's this darkness coming from? Is it the war that we're sensing, or is it this particular guy?
Yeah.
So I think like part of the war, the purpose behind that for Palpatine was to kind of hide that, like hide his rise to power.
No, definitely.
But then, yeah, I guess that just means they were outmaneuvered from the first movie, right? And like from that point on, like it's pretty much already over.
Yeah, it's just all dominoes falling down after that.
And like we saw in like their council meetings, I don't think they're very good at strategizing because their minds are just not built that
What about
way.
the Wookiees?
Well, I don't like they
They don't
positioned themselves into such an important pillar of the Republic, right? And
Yeah.
I think their order made a lot more sense as a smaller,
Peacekeepers.
kind of more
Well,
isolated thing doing their thing,
it seems like they shouldn't have pledged themselves to like a specific form of government. Like
Like-
they should have been a separate.
got involved in the politics.
Yeah.
Well, and like, but the Sith haven't been around for a long time.
That's
Yeah.
true too, yeah.
So I think, I mean, you can have this kind of like, oh, we sense maybe there's a Sith, but I mean, has any Jedi in
That's-
living memory actually come face to face
Knows
with
what
the
that
Sith?
feels
Like
like.
it's just Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Like
Well,
and
exactly. And they're like, oh, that, you know, when they met Darth Maul, like, Obi-Wan was like, yeah, I mean, he was trained, like,
yeah.
but they didn't know for sure, right?
That's a good point. Like, how old is Sidious supposed to be? Because
I don't know, but like
he's supposed to have been like he's the one that killed Plagueis, right?
yeah.
So if he
Should
was
be hundreds of years
that's right,
old,
he should be
right?
super old. Maybe he is.
What's the planet that he represents in the Senate?
Naboo.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Everything's happening in Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Him and Jar Jar living it up.
And yeah, that's another. I think of the themes like the erosion of democracy and like just kind of the
Thunderous
power
applause.
of
Yeah.
the power of lies to manipulate a narrative and stuff. And like I think those themes resonate, but it's another one of those that just isn't quite hit the way you'd want it to.
Well, they're very grown-up themes
Exactly,
being
yeah.
put in a very different package. Like not
True,
Yeah.
like this. The tone of this movie is not really ready to be in conversation with those themes.
Yeah, that might be the big problem of it, right? It's like he's trying to deal with all these weighty issues, but still being a fun Star
Yeah.
Wars romp.
Well, yeah, how do you balance that
Yeah,
like
that's tough.
adventure, fun movie with some really serious stuff?
Like I want to say some positives because I've
Before
very
you
negative.
get onto the
I love
positives,
this movie.
Can I,
Yeah.
can I
do.
just say how much
love
I
the
hate
prequels.
the fact that Chewbacca's in it?
I hate the fact Chewbacca's in it. Too.
I hate the fact that R2 and C-3PO have to
Yeah,
be in all
like,
these movies.
It was
That
good
really
enough that
annoys me.
Chewbacca was Han's buddy. He doesn't need to be Yoda's buddy,
Right,
too.
and like
that-
even if
what does that add
even if
to
you
the
want to put him in the
character?
movie, like you maybe just have him in the background. But like no, he's like
Yeah, he could
he's
have
like
been part of the battle,
He's like the
like,
number
oh.
2 Wookiee on the whole of Kashyyyk. It's like, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chewbacca was kicking ass on the beach. That would have been cool.
Yeah, just have him swing
Yeah.
by in the background doing his what was not Indiana Jones? What was it Tarzan call?
Yeah.
That they did. He legit did a Tarzan call as they swung onto that swimming tank. Yeah, I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it just does.
We could lift it out of the movie and it's the same.
That's what I mean.
Like, it could have happened.
It's the worst kind of
Yeah.
fan service. I don't like it.
But yeah, I do think like Order 66 I think is really
So
effective.
good, so good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Just such a emotional, like you really feel the rug pull that the Jedi get there. Like literally, like my favorite one of that is Ki-Adi-Mundi's like charging, and he's like, "Let's go," and he
Yeah.
turns around,
Yeah.
and they're just like
Nah.
shooting him.
Yeah. Yeah, some
Feel
of them
for
are
him.
brutal.
Which one is he?
He's the guy with the really tall.
civilian.
Okay.
You guys worried about the Wookiees? What about the Wookiees?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's usually remote in those.
Yeah, he's never about. He's
yeah.
always on Kashyyyk or something, just hanging out.
And then like yeah, I think the battle on Mustafar is really good too.
Yeah, that is really good.
And like a clever way to have a lightsaber battle that we haven't seen before, where the people are bobbing in and out of lava.
It's super dangerous.
Star Wars is always good at like environmental danger.
Yeah.
True.
The-
True.
You look at fight choreography from the prequels versus the original trilogy, and it's a world of difference.
Yeah, it
It's
really
a world
is.
of difference.
Yeah, what happened there? There's no one doing flips anymore.
So yeah, I liked the movie probably more on this rewatch. Now I know we're trying to spin into positives, but I do want to bring up one more.
No,
negative.
go for it.
General Grievous. I remember him being marketed in the lead up to this movie as such a badass, and he's a really big letdown in this movie. He's just hacking and running away, hacking and coughing, and then just like, his secret technique is spinning the lightsabers like a fan blade.
Okay, so
he does that
I'm
for like
actually
1
gonna
minute.
I'm gonna push back on Grievous
Okay.
because the one moment where I think, okay, Grievous is like a total smart badass is when he just breaks the glass and then
just jumps out.
then jumps
Yeah,
out.
that's cool.
Because he's like, you know what? I'm not a fucking human anymore. Like, I'm just gonna jump out here. You guys can suck it.
See you later, mouth breathers.
I'm just like, okay, you know what? Now I see why Grievous has survived and thrived because he can be smarter than anybody else he's facing.
Have you seen the first Clone Wars cartoon?
Yes.
In there you can see how much of a badass Grievous is. He's got some really good fights.
The Clone Wars stuff is so good, man. I love it so much.
So you like him overall as a character, just not merely in this movie.
Yeah, it's just he in that cartoon you can see how he's defeated so many Jedi. Like those are lightsabers from Jedi he's defeated, and I just don't. I mean,
the spinning is just very unimaginative.
Exactly.
Of a way for a robot to use a bunch of different lightsabers.
Yeah.
Like it should be overwhelming, but then it's not really overwhelming for Obi-Wan.
No, Obi-Wan just puts his lightsaber straight in the middle, and it stops both of them at the same
It's
time.
like I have more strength in my one arm than in your four. It's fine.
How do you feel about Grievous?
I like Grievous. But I do think though that in this movie, Grievous and Dooku are both just kind of pawns for Palpatine.
Yeah.
Good character design too, I'd say.
Mm.
Grievous
Oh, yeah,
is a cool looking character.
he's
Yeah,
cool.
When he does the close up on his eyes,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Well, it's
just
because he's
creepy.
he's a cyborg, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he started off as an organic being, like he was a Kalish
Oh,
warrior,
There you go.
and then
We all knew that.
just all these cyborg parts got added in. So he's not a droid. He's not a human. He's not he's a cyborg.
But yeah, he's the closest thing you can have to an actual good robot fighter, because all the robots in this universe are not good fighters at all. But he has instincts of a person.
Mhm.
Yeah, because he's got that living being aspect of him
'Cause
too.
they really go out of their way to show the AIs in this galaxy can just not be effective fighters at all.
Is there a canonical reason for why he's hacking and coughing all the time?
That's in the cartoon. It's Mace Windu crushes his larynx or whatever,
really?
with a force choke.
There you go. There is. I forgot. I don't remember that,
Yeah.
but that makes sense, I guess.
Is Grievous force sensitive? Or is he just
No, I don't think.
just a really effective tool with those lightsabers?
I think it's
so.
just good with the lightsabers. And I think he's had some training, I think, in terms of like a dark side force user would fight, but I don't think he actually has the force.
Any other big positives people want to
I
show?
was really thinking, then I should say something positive.
Mhm.
But
I like this
I-
movie.
I
I've
so it's
always
fine.
been a big fan of all the prequels.
I think Star Wars on some levels always kind of been about family, right? And I think you talk about the prequels kind of failing to tie into the original trilogy, but I think this does kind of hit it makes Vader's redemption stronger for me, and Luke's forgiveness of him stronger when you see just how bad Anakin fell, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
That he was a good person, right?
yeah, and
It was.
Luke probably the only person in the galaxy who still believed in him.
Yeah.
And so I think when you think of it that way, like it makes the original trilogy
I think that's a
stronger.
really good point. Like, and it's the best part of Return of the Jedi is their
That redemption.
that redemption arc. Like, I
Yeah.
still get goosebumps kind of just thinking about it.
Absolutely.
And like the prequels are always in conversation with the original trilogy. Like sometimes almost like to their detriment. Like rather than just being their own thing. There was definitely like a lot of echoes of like, you know, Obi-Wan coming up against Anakin, and Obi-Wan fails to bring him back. He thinks he's just gone over the edge and he doesn't believe in him anymore. And it does show that Luke shouldn't have believed in him, really, but he needed someone to believe in him. He's really just like a scared little boy.
Yeah,
And that's
a good
the
point.
secret of Darth Vader's character, is that he stopped growing up when he had to leave Tatooine, basically.
Well, and I think for Obi-Wan, I think a lot of that, like, I think he feels a lot of guilt around that, too. Like, I think he takes Anakin's fall very personally, because he was the one who trained him, who promised Qui-Gon as Qui-Gon was dying, Obi-Wan promised him he would train Anakin.
Well, imagine the weight of that guilt, knowing how much it cost the galaxy.
They should do a really cool TV show where it's just all about Obi-Wan dealing with that stuff and meeting Darth Vader for the first time. That would be so cool.
They should do a cool one.
Doesn't that sound like it would be great? You could even throw Qui-Gon Jinn in at the end. That would be amazing. Anyway, maybe for another day.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I said I wasn't going to talk about sequel or any Disney era stuff and complain about that stuff.
Yeah, that's a positive. It's better than the sequels.
Yeah, I put that in the play, like that. Let's do this again in 10 years.
Yeah.
Let's do this exact same thing.
Yeah, that just...
That really undercuts.
It
Oh.
does.
Yeah,
It
oh
just,
man.
It makes like the original trilogy like irrelevant. Like you're
That's-
like, why is there meetup?
That's the
Yeah.
worst fan service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's giving people
Very
like?
true.
I like that they brought Hayden Christensen back because like the fans appreciated him coming back, right? But like you could find things for him to do on the other side of the galaxy that don't have to directly interact with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm not against him coming back in some form.
I really liked it when they brought him back in Ahsoka, even though I didn't really like that show. But I love those characters from the Clone Wars.
I just wish I had more familiarity with the history of those two characters together to make that impactful.
No, it was so good. Like they did a whole arc that's like runs the same timeline as this movie. They did a whole like the end of the series arc in Clone Wars that's just all about what Ahsoka and
that's a
Elle
good
were
one.
doing while the movie was happening, because they
Right.
didn't exist necessarily when they made the movie. But they did it so well, and it's like some of my favorite stuff in Star Wars is watching that stuff.
That's kind of what got Filoni up into the upper echelons.
Like he loves it so much.
Yeah.
Like that's a guy who'll like bend over backwards to explain stuff and fill in gaps and make things connect, but do it in a way that works and makes sense. It makes me love this movie.
Well, he had
more.
the time to do it too, though, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, he had a bunch
it's
of
tough
time
to do it in a movie, is
yes,
the thing.
very much so. Yeah.
Well, any other last thoughts on this movie, guys?
I really wish that they added a bit when he first wakes up as Darth Vader and it's the James Earl Jones voice. I wish he was just like, "Whoa, my voice is so cool! What happened to my voice? Where's Portman?"
Yeah, you brought up a good point when we were watching about like the really effective timing they had.
Yes, that was really cool.
yeah,
actually.
so when they lower that mask onto his face for the first time, there's a very, very pregnant pause before he takes that first like iconic breath, and that sound effect that we all know. Yeah, it's a very, very, very heavy moment.
It might be the coolest moment of the movie. Actually,
it's very cool. Now
Well,
I know.
Order 66 is pretty cool too.
It is, but singles
Yeah,
thing that happened.
that's powerful too. And I know the whole like I know that gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But I mean, how would you react? Okay,
Yeah,
like
that's the thing. I don't think people. It's not the fact that that's how he reacted, because that's how you would react. It's just that
Sure.
people like, but Darth Vader's cool and evil, and like I don't want to see him do that, even
Okay.
if it makes sense that he would do that.
But think about it this way: if you think of it as the last word of Anakin Skywalker
Right.
just being like
Yeah.
forced out, expelled
Yes.
out. Exactly. So, sure, he became Darth Vader the moment Sidious dubbed him that. But if you think about how, let's say for the rest of the movie, there's that tiny little sliver of Anakin that's still in there. Well, when he finds out his beloved wife is gone, like that last moment of no, that's like the last bit of Anakin being expelled out. Because, I mean, Darth Vader wouldn't even really care about Padme, right? That's
I think
Anakin.
Honestly, I totally agree with that. I think it's just the visual of it. It's just the visual of seeing him in the suit.
get
Like
it,
just do all that you just said and that they do. Just do that before you put him in the suit. just have like crispy burnt Anakin do a no.
I think he can be like, because everything we're saying like makes sense and sounds good to me. Like I think just like
do it better.
The shot itself wasn't framed
Well, that's true enough.
And I think
kind
like
of a weird angle.
it's a weird angle, and like Sidious is just like standing like right there, like he's just like way too close. Like it needs to just be a oneer on Darth Vader,
right.
and
I
then
think
like
that's because of all the reliance on green screen and these weird like sets they have and stuff.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
a good
pretty
point,
cool though to see how like the room just kind of explode and like he's
when
just
he,
like
when he gets angry,
his rage is just destroying the equipment and things are like just
even
crumbling.
Sidious is like, oh shit. That's what I was saying earlier and stuff like that. I feel like Sidious just like, oh fuck, like he might just crush me to death. Like I'm really just going by the seat of my pants with this plan.
like jump ahead to Star Trek First Contact.
Well,
Jean-Luc Picard has a really good no scene where they said Jean-Luc
okay.
blow up the goddamn ship. And he goes no, and he smashes it. And I'm like, that's how you do a good no.
There you go.
So you can no is a good line. You just have to do it better.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I'm not blaming James Earl Jones. He was just doing what he was told. Like,
Well, they were going for kind of a like monster movie kind of no.
Like,
Yeah. Even the way it was shot, like, right? Like, it's like streaming up at the camera almost.
yeah, I called it the Darth Vader factory. I was really proud of that description.
I did notice that in the play. That was a pretty good one.
I'll say plus.
Cut
Thank
to,
you.
cut to Darth Vader factory.
Well, no, we could have just been saying this a lot. Like, I think all of us really like the ideas in this movie. But yeah, just not as effective as I'd like to be.
Yeah, watch those Clone Wars episodes instead. They do a really good job.
And read the book.
And read the book. I'm going to do that. I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm the only one that's not read it, so I'm going to do that.
I think I did.
Yes,
I think I
read it.
did like it better this time, having read the novelization.
Well, and I found too, like even just on this rewatch, like I'm seeing a scene and it's like triggering a memory from like that scene in the book. And I'm like thinking, oh, well, that's what he was thinking at the time, and that's what they were feeling at this moment. And yeah, the book really does just add so much more depth to it all.
Yeah. And it's the first time I've watched this since Rise of Skywalker, and like everything just gets more credit.
Yeah.
After that movie.
Yeah,
I
Like
feel
this-
the
bar,
same way.
Like,
bar has changed.
even though like I think that George Lucas made a lot of mistakes with this one, like at least like he's like a real filmmaker with real vision and like real integrity about him. So like, fucking come at me,
Gloves
JJ. I don't
are
care.
off, man.
Yeah.
Gloves are
No,
off.
I
But no, like you could tell, like I think this is just like a not entirely successful project from someone who is very talented in a lot of different ways and has a lot of flaws.
That's fair.
Well, and I think it just needed another round of revisions, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep.
But just a couple of tweaks, which he tends to do after
Right.
he's released the movie. That's when he goes back and does his tweaks.
Here's
and his
a
edits.
hypothetical question. Do you ever think we'd ever see a Star Wars movie remade?
No.
Rebooted?
They did. They just called it something else.
Force
It
Awakens.
wasn't.
Yeah, true.
What are you guys referencing?
The Force Awakens.
Force
Oh,
Awakens. just being the same way,
I guess
yeah.
it is the same way.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, they probably will. It depends on what they do. If they just keep making more, or if they just go back to the
I'm
well.
kind of just like, don't touch it,
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah.
It's good. We love it. Just
I feel like
maybe.
it won't be until like Star Wars has died down again.
Yeah.
like that could maybe be when it happens.
what I
Like
mean.
once
Like, if
it's
the-
a
if the
forgotten
next-
property
Yeah,
again.
the next
somehow.
big movie comes out and tanks and no one cares about it anymore, then they might just
Yeah.
like, let's just let it
But
it
the thing
lie
is,
for a few years.
now that Disney owns it, like
Yeah,
there's never
They're
going
never
to be
gonna let it go.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
They'll just pump it out.
Well, and like we're at the stage right now where like there still is more Star Wars stuff that I love than Star Wars stuff that I don't love, and I don't
Very
want
true,
that
very
ratio
true.
to get like because then like one of my favorite things I dislike most of most of the things in that franchise.
Yeah.
Like I'm still on the good side of that ratio right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to start Andor, because I loved that first season so much. I'm just so scared that the second season's not going to be as good. Because everything since then I've not loved as much.
We've been in the middle of Bad Batch and enjoying
Oh, I
that.
love Bad Batch.
So,
That was good.
yeah.
That was pretty good.
Check out some of the
The
shows,
animated
the
stuff is
animated
good, man.
shows.
Even Rebels, I love Rebels, man.
And happy
Yep.
Star Wars Day to you
Yes,
all. I don't know if we
exactly.
mentioned that this is a Star Wars Day
Yes.
thing, but
May the 4th go with you.
There you go.
Always.
well, yeah. Thank you, Ben and Delaney, for letting us take over
Yeah.
the top floor of your house for.
Appreciate the
Many
hospitality,
hours.
guys.
Our pleasure. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys next year for Empire
For
Strikes
Empire
Back.
Strikes
Calling the
Yeah.
shot right now.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, until then, that's the final word.